بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيد الخلائق أجمعين، حبيبنا وسيدنا وقائد مسيرتنا المصطفى الأمين بالقاسم محمد وعلى آل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين الغر الميامين، لا سيما سيدي ومولاي بقية الله في الأراضين مهدي هذه الأمة وخاتم الأئمة وطاووس أهل الجلال حجة بن الحسن العسكري، روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء. قال الله العظيم في محكم كتابه الكريم: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. للمؤمنين رجال صدقوا ما عاهدوا الله عليه، فمنهم من قضى نحبه ومنهم من ينتظر وما بدلوا تبديلا. آمنا بالله، صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. One of the great companion and personalities of Islam, and a lot of Muslims are indebted to him. He's the cousin of the Prophet ﷺ, the third person to become Muslim, and the older brother of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, and that is Jaffer ibn Abi Talib Ridwanullahi ta'ala alayh. Jaffer was older than Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salam alayhi by 10 years. And as we know, Abu Talib had Talib, who was the eldest, and Ja'far and Aqil, and Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salam alayhi. When there was a drought and famine, in order for his brothers to assist him, his relative to assist him, they took his kids except for Aqil. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam took Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salam alayhi, and Abbas ibn Abdul Muttalib took Ja'far Ridwanullah ta'ala alayhi. And of course Talib was long gone by then. Ja'far was with his father Abu Talib walking when they saw Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam praying, Amir al-Mu'mineen next to him, and Khadija Ridwanullahi ta'ala alayha praying behind him. So he ordered his son Ja'far, he told him, Sil janah ibn ammik, go and connect or complete the wing of your cousin, and that is Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Interestingly, Ja'far was similar, had a lot of similarity to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And he said to Ja'far, Ashbahta khalqi, that you look similar to me. And of course, that is good, because they're cousins and they're from the same bloodline. But what more interestingly is that he said, Ashbahta khalqi wa khulqi, that even my akhlaq and my traits. And if you go and read about Ja'far, salamullah alayhi, which one of his title is what? Tayar. But Tayar was later on been given to him. And one of his first titles was Abu al-Masakin, the father of the Masakin. Right? Again, like Bani Hashim, like his father Abu Talib, they were always taking care of the poor, less fortunate, and the weak. On the 5th of the after Mab'ath of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when the pressure was mounting up on the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam through his followers. So they were pressuring his followers, especially the one who didn't have a strong tribe. So they would put pressure on them to hurt the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They will hurt them in order to hurt the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he gave them some of the Khadija's money, which was um, one of the most blessed, or actually the most blessed money that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned, that helped the Islam, helped the Muslims to this day. Um, and he told them to migrate to Habasha, which is Ethiopia today. And he said that they have a king. They have a king that no one will be oppressed in his presence. Interesting that that's what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that's one of the qualities that a lot of people who seek refuge in some of the countries, it's not because of maybe they didn't have a family back home, they didn't have, there was not enough Muslim, but they didn't have any justice. So from the beginning, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was looking and ordering people to go and seek justice. So around 80 of them, excluding the women and the children, they migrated to Habasha. This is was a turning point for the Muslims. First of all, no one have done such thing. Like Arabs are usually bound to their areas and with their tribe and with their people. Second, it was very dangerous to Quraysh. Quraysh, they consider themselves the rulers of Arab Peninsula. And so let's call them the Arab of the Jahilis, not Peninsula, because the Yemenis were not like them. They were more advanced, they had a religion, they were Christian, they had church, they had like a system. But these people, no one even cared about them. So, but nevertheless, they were the rulers of that area, of that desert. And they saw that it will hurt their relation with Ethiopia, which they had a trade with. There were trade people, like especially Quraysh. Quraysh, like as the verse goes as well, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف. During the winter, they will go to the south, and during the summer, they will go to the north for trade. So they sent Amr ibn al-As, the pantless, famous con man. So they sent him after the Muslimin. And when Najashi, which was the king, he heard about this, he called the Muslim up and to see what they have to say about the accusation of Amr ibn al-As, which he said that these people, they fled their people, they fled their tribe, they in disagreement with us, they are in opposition with us, and those such claims. So Najashi said, "Are they your slaves?" He said, "No, they're not." He says, "Why do you want them? They are free to be here." So Amr ibn al-As didn't, he was a reluctant man. He didn't just give up. He came after bribing some of the priests the day after. And he claimed and accused the Muslim that they are smearing their reputation and they're talking bad about Maryam ibn Imran. But he didn't know about what Islam says about Maryam salamullahi alayha. And that was his biggest mistake. Jaffer, if you notice that, why Jaffer migrated with them? Jaffer was the brother of Amir al-Mu'mineen, the son of Abu Talib. There was no harm coming to him, right? He was their leader. He was a person of intelligence. He was the brother of Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullahi wasalam alayhi. And Rasulullah chose him for a good reason. He was eloquent, he was intelligent, he was knowledgeable, he had faith. So, what the Muslim, like nowadays, you will go to the phone, you see what they will have a whole chapter in the Quran about Maryam, right? We have this verse. He chose the shortest verse about Sayyidah Maryam. إذ انتبذت من أهلها مكانا شرقيا فاتخذت من دونهم حجابا. He started telling about the birth of Isa ibn Maryam salawatullah wasalam. Even the priests who have been bribed, they're almost cried. He came, Najashi, and told to Ja'far that between you and us is just this line. And in the riwayat and akhbar and all that, Najashi later on became Muslim himself. And the reason behind, one of the main reasons behind Ja'far leaving Habasha, right? Ja'far, way later, he joined Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Medina. Like in the year 7th of Hijrah. 7th of Hijrah. That's a long time to be there. And so there's a few things that it's important. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't just send them off. Tell them like, you go to Habasha without a scholarly figure, without someone to guide them. Because one of those, as an example, one of which was, his name was Abdullah ibn Jahsh, right? I think he was the husband of Habib. He became a Christian. He became a Christian there. He saw the church and saw how the church are conducting themselves. And even though, keep in mind, that Ethiopian church, to this day, it's the least corrupted church of any church in the world. Their women, if you go and see how they dress, how they pray, right? Not consuming swine, not doing idolatry. A lot are like still intact. Anyways, and that is important. Why? Because you don't just like send your people and your Muslimin to a country that the majority are not Muslim and they have no reference and nothing to go back to. They cannot rely on someone because all of your work gonna like go without any benefit. So even for today, Muslims, mu'mineen, they all need not just centers, right? They need people to guide them as well. So Ja'far again, because the Najashi was under pressure, it was like almost an internal coup against him because they suspected that he became Muslim. So he said to them that you leave, right? If the things settle down, I will call you back. If not, you just move on and go back to your people. And that's what happened. And he died a Muslim, Najashi. So when Ja'far, he came to Medina, and even Abdullah ibn Ja'far, I think if I'm not mistaken, Abdullah ibn Ja'far, the husband of Sayyidah Zainab salawatullah wasalam alayha, was born in Habasha. And his mother, of course, Asma bint Umays, radwanullah ta'ala alayha, one of the greatest women in Muslim history. He went back to Medina. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was absent. Where's Rasulullah? He went to Khaybar. They put a siege on Khaybar, and there's a war going on. He immediately left. He didn't just wait for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He immediately, when he reached there, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given victory to the Muslim through the Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullah salam alayhi. So when Ja'far, he reached there, started going towards Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah saw his cousin and his beloved leader that he sent to Habasha came. He went, he embraced Ja'far. He went to Ja'far. He didn't just sit to Ja'far to come to him. No, no, no. That's Rasulullah we're talking, right? He got up, he went to Ja'far, he embraced him, he kissed him between his eyes. And he said, I don't know which I'm more happier about. بفتح Khaybar, the victory over Khaybar, or بقدوم Ja'far, or for Ja'far to come. That it was equivalent. The victory over the Jews of the Khaybar, it was tipping points in history of Islam. It was a tipping point that Fath Mecca started then. There was no one to plot against the Muslimin around Medina anymore. And they have gained so much strength and wealth from what they have got from the Khaybar castle. So they say Ja'far, he started roaming around Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but just looking at Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's how happy as well he was. Rasulullah told Ja'far that, should I give you something? أحبوك أهديك, I will give you something. Muslimin, yes, all this wealth of Khaybar, right? Rasulullah have the choice to pick whatever he wants and to give whoever he wants the best of the bounties of Khaybar. But Rasulullah gave him a truly divine bounty. Truly divine bounty. That we're talking about Salat Mustahab, right? There is no Salat Mustahab more rewarding like Salat Jaffer Al Tayar. There is no Salat. And this is one of the things that Ja'far will be always remembered by, like what Rasulullah have given Fatima Zahra sallallahu every after each salah, right? Millions upon millions of people each day glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of Sayyidat al-Nisa Fatima Zahra sallallahu Ja'far had a few other traits and qualities. There's two hadith in this regard. One is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ja'far has four things, and he didn't reveal those things to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That the riwayah goes, sallallahu alaihi wa Muhammad. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well, he kept, there's two riwayah in this regard. One is the one that I will now say, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, what four qualities, Ja'far, you possess that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you for it? Said, I never drank. I never drank any spirit drink, as they put it, because I knew that this will take my mind and will take my mind from me, so I didn't. And I did not commit adultery, because I knew if I commit adultery with someone's girl or wife or woman, right, someone will look into my woman and my relatives. And I never lied. I think out of those, this is the most strongest. I mean, and truly remarkable. And never prayed to an idol, because I knew that these idols, they will not benefit me and will not harm me. So I never did those four things. Of course, Ja'far radhiallahu ta'ala alayhi, and just almost just 1 year. He came in Muharram, I think, to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and to Medina, and in the Rabi' al-Thani, Rasulullah, he sent him with Abdullah ibn Rawaha and with Zayd ibn Haritha to Mu'tah. There they met the army of the Romans. As we all know, Romans was an empire, right? Organized army. And the Romans, they gathered like a massive army. They say 30,000, some say 40,000. Organized, well-equipped army to face 3,000 Muslims. Some argue in the regard of who was the leader of the army first. Was it Zayd ibn Haritha, which most of the scholars say was him, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if he was to be martyred or something happens to him, then Ja'far, then Abdullah ibn Rawaha. So the Muslim fought bravely. Zayd ibn Haritha, which was for a while who the adopted son of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was martyred. Radwanullah ta'ala alayh. Very close and dear to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's heart. And then Ja'far, salamullah alayh. And he got off his horse. He fought until they cut his right and left arm. And when they exhumed his body, so more than 80 injuries was in his upper body. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam received the news through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through the angels, and he went to the house of Asma bint Umays and he called upon the sons of Ja'far radwanullah ta'ala alayhi, and he took them in and he started stroking their hair. Asma felt something happen, and she said that, why are you treating my kids like you treat orphans? He says that Ja'far was martyred, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him wings instead of his hands in heaven, and he flies in heaven with angels. Fatima Zahra salawatullah salam alayha came and started crying for her uncle, for her cousin. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, for someone like Ja'far, let the people weep. Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullah salam alayhi said something, the ayah that I started the talk with, من المؤمنين رجال صدقوا ما عاهدوا الله عليه فمنهم من قضى نحبه ومنهم من ينتظر. من قضى نحبه, who was martyred, was Hamza and Ja'far. Who was waiting was Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullah salam alayhi. After the attack on the house of Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullah salam alayhi, says that would have not happened if I had Hamza with me and my brother Ja'far ridwanullahi ta'ala alayhi. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevate and increase the position and the rewards of Ja'far salawatullah salam alayhi in heaven. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the opportunity to visit his shrines, his shrine and the shrine of Zayd ibn Haritha in Arbid in Jordan. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gather us with Muhammad al Muhammad salawatullah salam alayhi wa ajma'in. Innahu waliyyu tawfiq. Sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala tayyibin al-tahirin.